I want to tell you a story. This morning I woke up and I felt really inspired and I started drafting the script for this video. And then I mentioned in my previous videos that I have been doing, sorry, you're a bit far away so that you can see the camera's a bit far away so you can see all this stuff. I mentioned that I've been doing the IG Quilt Fest. And there's a prompt on Instagram, there's a prompt every day. And the prompt this morning, I went and read it after I had written the script for this video. The prompt was, show us your recent finishes. So it's a little bit ironic because the purpose of me writing the script for this video, the purpose of this video is to talk about the fact that I have a confession to make in that I've been quilting for quite a few years, about 5 years or more, and I've only finished 2 big quilts. Now, if you go on my website and look at the the fabric porn section, you'll see loads of stuff there that I've finished, small stuff, but you'll only see one quilt, and actually one full-size quilt. And actually, that full-size quilt, after that picture was taken, in the last year or so, I added some hand quilting onto the green strip. You'll see what I mean if you look at the website. But here's the thing, it's not because I haven't been sewing. I am surrounded by the stacks of quilts that I have started making but have not finished. Yeah? So I feel kind of like a fraud, a little bit like a fraud. I feel like more of a quilt starter than a quilt maker. So this has been bothering me for quite a while, and then I wanted to talk to you about it because I think that this is evidence of something bigger. So if you look at my website, I talk about the idea of teaching people how to use creativity as a tool to make cool stuff and change their lives, right? So my idea is if you drop into creative flow, you can be more creative, make cool stuff, but you can also learn how to change your life. So I think that the reason that I haven't finished any of these bigger projects, or even some of the small ones I'm going to show you, is probably has to do with the same reason with something in my business as well. So here's the other confession I have to make to you. I started this business, Olivia and Marie Create, because I really want to help other people change their mindset about creativity. I really want to help you learn how to use creativity as a tool to change your life. I really believe that is so powerful, and it's the best tool there is. And I haven't really been building up my business in the way that I wanted to. I have not been posting videos until the last few days. I haven't been posting regular videos on YouTube, and I haven't been posting regularly on Instagram or on my website, and I haven't really built my business. And the reason for that is not because I haven't had any ideas. I have loads of ideas, and I have pages and pages and pages of writing where I've written blog posts that I haven't posted. I've written scripts for videos that I haven't recorded. I have videos that I have recorded, but I haven't posted them either on YouTube or on my website. So I want to use this as a tool to help figure out. I want to show you how this works, the idea of using creativity as a tool to change my life, right? So let's look at some of this creative stuff, some of this stuff. So here, I don't know if you can see it, but there are 3 big quilts here. 1, 2, 3. They are huge. They're bigger than queen size or king size. They're all basted and partially quilted. There's one that's a lap quilt that's partially hand quilted. There's a sort of mini quilt that's partially hand quilted. There's a mini quilt that's basted, but I haven't done any quilting on it. This is sort of a lap-sized quilt top that is finished, but not basted. Let's see, what else have we got? Oh, I've got blocks. This is very embarrassing. I used to belong to Siblings Together Bee. When it was my turn to be the bee maid, I convinced everyone to do these beautiful improv blocks. There are enough here for 2 100 centimeter quilts for the Siblings Together charity. I haven't finished them. and it's been a couple of years. Sorry, B-mates. They're going up on my wall next after this. These are, believe it or not, the very first quilt blocks I ever made. And I even have the backing fabrics for this quilt. And I know pretty much how I want to put them together. Haven't started it. This is one that's a little bit more recent. These are some disappearing 9-patch that I cut up and prepared for a quilt, a lap quilt for my mom. Don't tell her. If any of you are my cousins who happen to be watching, don't tell her. This is my 100 blocks that I did, 100 in 100 days in 2017. And I love them yet. It's by the fact that I have my backing fabric here already. A couple more really recent ones. This is a handbag that I started making, an improv handbag that I started making from the scraps left over from the 100 days box, and some red and white quilt blocks that I got from my from a swap that we did when I was in the London Modern Quilt Guild. So here's the thing. What's going on with all this? Well, let's look at this. We could, I could be really superficial and say that this happened because I moved last year and, I still have some boxes of books and my house still hasn't been organized, and I just haven't had time. But that's not true because I have been sewing. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's two very prominent works in progress that I haven't finished. And this is one behind me. And this was actually started back in, I looked it up earlier today, 2014 or 2015. I bought a pack of these pre-cut squares of some Anna Maria Horner fabric, and I've added to them, and I'm doing improv. There's another one on my improv design wall, which I talked about, my impromptu design wall, I think I called it, which I talked about in one of my previous videos in the last couple of days. You can check it out on YouTube. And those are my gypsy wife quilt along that I'm working on at the moment. So, I could be, so I can't really make the excuse that I'm not sewing. It's just that I'm not committing to and sewing these things. And so the question is why? Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't want to be superficial about it because, sorry, I'm just checking my notes so I can make sure my notes, because I have lots of notes of what I want to say to you about this. So, I could be really superficial about it and say it's because I moved and that sort of thing. But, when I used to work in the bank, I'm going to give you an example. When I used to work in the bank, I used to have a team. I was brought in to help this team sort of turn things around because they had some issues. And one of the issues was not that they were unwilling or incompetent, because whenever we found that something had gone wrong or there was a mistake, somebody would always put their hand up and say, oh, I know how to fix that, and I can fix that mistake. And the thing that I would say is, and so they would want to just take that one thing and go away and fix it. And I would say, wait, we can't just fix the one thing. We need to figure out first why the mistake happened. Because if we don't understand why it happened, then it could happen again and again, right? We want to make sure that we understand why it happened so we can make sure we have the right system in place to keep it from happening again. So that's what I want to try to do with this. And I want to use, and that's why I'm using the creativity as a tool, because I think that it's quite similar to my business issue, right? So, all right, so that's a step one. So I'm giving you the actionable tips for you. If you've got something that's not working right, the first thing you want to do is figure out why. Why isn't it working? Okay, so in this case, I think that part of it, one of the reasons is I'm a bit of a magpie. Yeah, so I have so many ideas. I look at quilts on Instagram and on Blog Lovin' all day, and I see so many things that I want to do, and I think, oh, I really want to make that. I really want to make something like that, right? I very rarely sew from patterns. I do occasionally. These two that I've showed you, the quilt alongs, but rarely. Those are the only two really pattern quilts that I've ever made. I generally just have an idea, and I have to do it in the fabric. So, I'm a bit of a magpie though, and I have all these ideas that just come into my head, and that I get from all my inspiration. I keep thinking, oh, what can I do with that? How can I do that? And so I think I keep getting distracted and moving on. And partially I get distracted, when I get to a stage where it's a little bit difficult. Yeah. So like, for example, this one, the handbag, I got to the stage where you're supposed to iron in some interfacing. Ugh, I have the interfacing. I even ordered it, but I haven't done it. And I'm letting that little thing stop me because I don't really like ironing the interfacing, you see. Um, and this quilt here, I've kind of moved in a little bit closer, but this quilt here, this big one with the purple spots, this is actually squares, rainbow squares of a heart quilt. And then in the corner, in the bottom corner, there's a strip rainbow. And I was doing some really close, like quarter-inch quilting, quarter inches apart in the one section in the strip rainbow. And I was doing this negative space thing, so where you make out the letters LOVE, but you quilt around the shape of the letters. So the shape of the unquilted bit makes the shape of the letters, if that makes any sense. But anyway, you have to do that really densely, like a quarter inch. And it's a bit of a faff, and it's not that much fun, and I just kind of let it go. So another reason that I get kind of distracted is just that. So the two reasons that I figured out that I get distracted are partly because I have so many ideas, and partly because I get to a point and I think, oh, that's kind of boring. I'll just move on to something much more exciting, because piecing is my favorite thing. Coming up with an idea and then starting to put it together and figuring out how to put it together, that's my favorite bit of all. So I need to realize that those are the two areas, right? And figure out why I'm not going ahead anyway and finishing, because I love these quilts. I put a lot of work into these quilts. One of them, two of them actually, are gifts for people who mean a lot to me. So I need to figure out what I can do to move forward, why I'm not moving forward. Now, distraction and so being a bit of a magpie, being distracted and feeling like, oh, this is a tough bit, this is a boring bit. I think those come down to a mindset. Yeah. And I need to make a mindset shift to commit to quilting these quilts and to create an action plan for doing that, right? You can feel really strongly that you want to do something, right? How many times have you said to yourself, I really, really want to change my job? Or I really want to lose this like 10 pounds that I'm carrying, this extra 10 pounds. Or, I really want to get more organized in my house, for example, declutter. But you never do. And the reason for that is no matter how much you want it or how much you say, I am committed to it, you have to actually combine your commitment to doing it with an action plan for doing it, right? You have to come up with an action plan, and then you have to take action. Commitment, action plan, action, right? So commitment is a form of mindset change, right? So I need to make a mindset change so that I can get these quilts done. Okay, so I'm committing to you here today. So this is a good way to commit in public, in front of a bunch of strangers. I'll be embarrassed if I don't do it because somebody might see it that I know personally. So I'm committing that I am going to take action to finish these quilts. Okay, all of these projects. Now that's going to take a while, right? So my action plan is going to be, the second thing, the action plan is going to be that I'm going to spend 20 minutes every day before I do anything else. I'm going to spend 20 minutes working on one of these projects. Okay. And I think I'm going to pick a project. So if you'd like to vote on which project you'd like to see, you can say you'd like to see the big heart quilt, maybe with the love on the end. That one's almost finished, actually. That one would probably be the quickest to finish because all the main part of the quilting, the heart, is quilted. It's just a little bit of quilting on the bottom corner. So that might be a good one. I could hold these up to show you, but they're so big it would be really tough for you to see. I'll tell you what, I can post some pictures of them and you guys can vote. I'll give you 3 choices maybe. I won't give you all the choices, or maybe you can just say in the comments below which one you think you might like to see. Would you like to see a heart quilt with the love on it? Would you like to see the one for my daughter, which is the Frida Kahlo quilt? This has got a lot of black and purple and green. This is kind of funky. If you check my Instagram feed, there's a picture of that being quilted there. Would you maybe like to see this one of all the bright Miami colors that I did for my mom? The Disappearing 9 patch is going to be kind of fun. Or would you like to see my 100 days blocks? Okay, which would you like me to see me working on first? Yeah. So I'm gonna commit that I'm committing to you. I'm going to finish these quilts. I'm going to start a process where I'm going to every morning for the next 4 days, I'm going to do 20 minutes on that one project. Okay, I'm going to pick a project for now, but you can vote. And if you vote for something different, I'll switch over. Okay. And I'm going to do it for 4 days. I'm only going to commit for 4 days because if I say I'm going to do it until they're all done, then that'll be a big, huge, overwhelming task. If you look in my feed a couple of days ago, I think 2 or 3 days ago, I did a video about small changes make a big difference. So I commit to making a small change for 4 days, 20 minutes a day, right? And here's the thing, after the end of those 4 days, when I get to those 4 days, I'm going to do 4 days again. And another 4 days. I'm going to start, it's called chunking, right? It's a technique that's called chunking. So I'm going to keep going as long as I can. And I'm committing to you that I'm going to keep going till they're all done. Yeah. So step one, it's a mindset change. It's commitment, right? Step two is is make a plan. And step three is action, right? So we need step three, action. So I'm going to start doing that. And I tell you what, I might do some pajama quilting. I usually sew first thing in the morning. And I usually am still in my pajamas when I do it. So I might do that. And I think I might do a live. I've got to figure out the camera and how I can get the camera. Because if I was piecing this, it'd be easy enough for you to see. But if I'm quilting, maybe I'll just set up the camera and I'll just show you my quilting. I might talk for about 5 or 10 minutes at the beginning. And if you have any questions, I might have an idea for the day, like a short idea. Some of all these pages and pages of scripts that I've been working on. Short little idea. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes at the beginning. And if you join me live, you can ask me questions about what I'm doing and then, or about what I'm talking about, my life lesson from modern quilting that I'm talking about for that day. And then I'm going to quilt for 20 minutes and you can join me if you like. I want to see your work in progress that you're going to work on. So what I would really love for you to see in the comments, let me know. What WIP have you got? How old is it? How long standing is it? And how many WIPs have you got? What would you like to work on? Tell me how long standing they are and pick one that you're going to work on and join me for 20 minutes every day for the next 4 days. Just 4 days and just 20 minutes. Now, if we like it, we can maybe add another 20 minutes, right? Off camera. We're only going to do 20 minutes live. But if you like it, you can keep going. Or if you have time, you keep going. But we're going to commit to a minimum 20 minutes every day. Okay? And that's going to be our plan. So how does this all fit in up with my business? Well, I think my business is a bit the same, you see. I think I need a mindset change. Not that I need to be committed to my business, because I am committed to my business. So that's not the mindset change that I need to make. So I think, sorry. So I talked at the beginning about why I stopped quilting, because of distraction and because of things like I get to a boring bit and I can't be not that I can't be asked, but it's hard. So that's where I guess the commitment comes in. It gets a little bit hard and I think, oh, there's other things I'd rather be doing. I don't really like this bit, so I'll come back and do it another time, and then I just never do. So in a similar way, that's why I haven't been doing my blog posts and doing my videos for you. So here's the thing. This mindset, this idea of being distracted by something else, or, feeling like there's something else that's more interesting, or maybe that it's just like, this is too hard right now. All of that comes from my inner critic, right? So you've probably heard this idea. You probably, there's this little voice in your head that when you try to do something that's hard, goes, this sucks. This is really hard. I don't know what made me think I could do this, right? Or this sucks, I suck, I'm not going to do it anymore, right? So my inner critic, these are limiting beliefs, right? The fact that I can't do it because it's too hard, or that because I'm struggling to do it, I suck. Here's the thing. First of all, when you are doing something new, or when you're doing something like quilting, it's a skill. There's always going to be stuff that's hard. That's kind of the point, to learn how to get over the problems, right? So that's part of the process. And we have to fail and mess up anytime we're doing anything creative, because overcoming those obstacles and figuring out how to make things work, that's all part of being creative. So these limiting beliefs, and they hold me back from my business. Now, I know I said at the beginning, my business, if I can't get over my limiting beliefs, how can I help you get over your limiting beliefs? Well, here's the thing. I've gotten over some of my limiting beliefs, and I have tools that keep me from shutting down and stopping altogether, right? Because of the work that I've already done with my inner critic. For example, I'm here making a fool of myself on YouTube, even though I have this limiting belief, right? I have this limiting belief that's like, oh God, you probably have this when you're doing your quilts, when you're making something. Oh God, what if it sucks? What if I hate it? What if it sucks and everyone else hates it and they hate me, right? So that's kind of the limiting belief that kind of crops up in my head that tries to crop up in my head all the time, the inner critic. Now, she's kind of smart, my inner critic, and your inner critic is pretty smart too. She'll say to me, she used to say to me, oh, you can't do this, you suck. Or I thought in my head, I can't do this, I suck. I refer to her as she now, right? It's like a third person because it's not wholly me. It's not my true self. So anyway, I just realized this sounds really crazy. I have voices in my head. It's not quite like that, people. Okay. So I lost my train of thought. I'm just going to take a second. My inner critic used to say to me, when I had trouble, when I was struggling with things, like when I was struggling with these blocks that I told you about last night, when I was struggling with this block, my very first block that I ever did, I was weeping and moaning and crying, and I was thinking, I suck. I can't do this. There's something wrong with me. I'm not creative enough. I'm not talented enough. Now, if I find a problem, my inner critic doesn't usually try that anymore with me. All right? I don't think to myself automatically. What I really mean to say is, I don't think to myself automatically, I suck because I can't do this. I don't think that, right? Very occasionally, that if I'm tired or if I'm feeling ill or whatever, that thought might cross my head. But if it does, I go, I know I don't suck. I know it's just hard because that's the way it is. So because of the work that I've done to overcome those limiting beliefs, I can keep going. And that's the thing about the inner critic. Those limiting beliefs never really go away. They just change form, right? So before, my limiting beliefs were very direct. I can't do this, so I suck, right? Now, my limiting beliefs are a little more subtle. They're like, oh, this isn't quite good enough, but you can do better. I know I can do better. So I'm going to go away and work on this a little bit more. Or I've got a better idea. I know I started drafting this script for a video on this subject of limiting beliefs, but actually that might be kind of icky. So I know people might not like that. So I'll go over and do a different script on a different subject, right? So it's a little more subtle. It's not quite the same thing as saying, I can't do this, so I suck. Anyway, so the point of that is I have done work and I have discovered tools that help me deal with the inner critic, right? You can't get rid of her, so I've made friends with her. And I know when to ignore her and when to listen to her. And I am sharing those tools with you, and I'm not a crazy person who talks to herself. So I'm sharing those tools with you, and I hope you will find them helpful. I will have some more for you tomorrow on this, and I am publishing on my website tomorrow a freebie, which is I'm calling my Creative Flow Accelerator. And this is a little tool that I use before I sew, just to sort of get myself into creative flow more quickly. And during sewing, if I start to get frustrated and go, this really sucks, it's not working out right, I can chill out, tune in, and drop into creative flow, and then that helps it all go much more smoothly. So you can check out my website tomorrow and you will find that for you. It's totally free. You don't have to pay anything for it, and you can get my Creative Flow Accelerator. So please drop some comments in the boxes below. I really look forward to hearing from you soon. And I hope you have a great evening. Bye for now. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, 9:30. I'm doing pajama quilting. 9 o'clock maybe. 9 o'clock. Let's do pajama quilting 9 o'clock. 20 minutes. We can piece together or quilt together. If you have a different craft, if you're doing needlepoint or knitting, whatever you want to do, come and do it with me. And you can ask me questions, and I will just give like a little 5 minutes spiel at the beginning, and then I'm gonna just put the camera, maybe put some royalty-free music on the background, and let you watch me sew. And you can be sewing at the same time, and we can do it together. We can get through our whips together. Because here's the thing. I'm not here because I'm some learned sage. I'm not here because I'm an enlightened Buddha, because I have everything all figured out. It's not true. I'm just making it through one day at a time, just like you. And we can do this together, and I really would love to help you. So take care and see you tomorrow morning. Okay, I'm coming around. Turn off